just because you have a kid doesn't mean that you always know right, but also learning and being able to take accountability for not knowing at that young age to kind of try to get you somewhere, or just learning simple skills, you know what I'm saying, of not being so angry towards these kids and putting it on them that they exist now.
Get ready, everyone. You're listening to the Hey Boo Podcast.
I like that with the chemistry, yeah. And when you vibe back, we can remedy that. I'm into energy and telling the facts. Tenderize my tendencies. Oops, they better be back. So relax, I'm on the track. This right is my home. I never ask, so you feel my tone. You really know, oh no. Here we go again. And you said that we were only friends.
Bro, fix your face. We cannot go. Oh, we got caught again. All right, listen. Y'all caught me in worse situations, and if you follow me on TikTok, you know what worse those situations are. Well, aren't you just ever so willy-nilly willying yourself in my nilly? Let me quit, girl. I'm doing too much, and it's just the beginning of the episode. Well, as you see here, I have a light-skinned horse now, and for the followers who are just listening, if you know anything about some of the lore with Boo Boo, is that I do own two horses, actually. I used to own only one, and then we did acquire another one. The first horse's name was Kitty, little dark skin, little brown red bone, you know what I'm saying? Now we have Oswald here. Oswald's new to the family. We acquired her. She's a growing girl. She's really cunty. She's really cutesy girly, you know what I'm saying? It's a fun moment, and so we kind of love that for the both of us. So Oswald will be the special guest of this episode. Excuse me, Kitty's already in the back, but yeah, what a time it has been. The weekend was extravagant. Let's just start there, and I'll kind of finish there. And yes, I have pants on for viewers who are not watching. I'm extra uber duper colorful today, and that's just because I fucking felt like it, and free will exists. So there's that. But yeah, no, we have a wonderful special episode coming up this very fine Monday. Coming to the swing of things, getting into the weeks and shit. I feel like we're getting ready for the world to end, but like nobody knows how we're gonna go out yet, and so that's fun. But you know, it is what it is. I guess Trump's talking about we getting money now, girl. Just pay me. Don't tell me about it. Put it in the. You know how to get to the. Yeah, girl. I'm not doing all that. But yeah, child. Welcome to the Hey Boo Podcast. I am your host, Boo Boo. I'm saying right, crazy, right? But yeah, no, we're kind of continuing the swing of things from last week. Had a very heavy topic when it comes to those toxic norms, those toxic, toxicity within families, and then generational norms, or aka I call curses. But it's all the stuff that we talk about in our families as a cycling thing that goes on constantly. That's not positive in any way, shape, or form, but consistently exists amongst the masses nonetheless. And so, like, something that I really like to touch on is just kind of like ways we can kind of be more aware of these things and noting what it is, but also like, why aren't we doing anything to change it? You know what I'm saying? Thanksgiving's right around the fucking corner. And I just know, listen. All I'm going to say, and all I'm going to say is, by the time y'all see this episode, all the Caucasian ones who are going to their families this Thanksgiving, either live stream or put online, record y'all's experience about these Epstein files, because there's just no way y'all not gonna bring them up. And I know y'all radical they-thems like to stir the pot more than I do, and I'm a pot stir certified. Thank you. So I'm uber duper excited to hear the stories on the following week. So yeah, no, please do your parts and let's talk about it, because I'm ready to hear about it. But yeah, let's really get into the swing of things this episode. It's gonna be a lot of interesting gearing things we have here to talk about. I only say that because I feel like the people in my family who do kind of watch, or if they decide to watch, they feel so entitled, are definitely going to have their feathers ruffled. And that's not my problem. I'm just here to speak a truth, all the truths and nothing but the truths. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, no. So last week we kind of touched on like the infliction, it can kind of have on the generation after you when it comes to educating someone, but only when you're reprimanding them. You know what I'm saying? When it's just like discipline, like not sharing that education just across the masses in a more healthy way, and learning communication skills. I kind of brought up, like those generations before you of like bringing up what they had to go through, and then why I should be more grateful where I am today. I I kind of have to reiterate this only because I feel like it's definitely still lost in translation somehow. If you find yourself in a place of not knowing where to go and struggling as a teenager, and for some odd fucking reason your parent tells you, well, you should suck it up because, I didn't have cars back then and I had to walk 70 skirt. I'm gonna stop you right there, big guy. There's just no fucking reason for that. I just don't feel like it's necessary. Now, if you're telling me the precursor context to a reason why we work so hard for things, sure, that's significantly different. A whole different topic, though. You know what I'm saying? Let's call a spade here. So I do feel like it's important to know when we are overselling this like struggle that we all had to go through. I feel like it's also not talked about enough. The like middle class ish kind of silver spoon fed people in the black community that still try to portray this like shitty background they had and just like, well, don't forget how hard it was. For who? Who was it hard for? Huh? No. Come back. Don't. No, because haven't we been playing our Xboxes together? Right. Which struggle you describe? Like, I just don't understand why it's necessarily to only talk about a struggle when we're in this like you know what I'm saying? Like, your struggle's not my struggle. Struggles exist, yes, in the past, but like the struggles of the past don't necessarily always equal hurting us today. Not to say that they don't, and I don't want that to be missed in translation whatsoever, because a lot of that stuff still does affect us. Yes, and that's just not my race, but like, anyone who had to deal with any issues from the past. But I will say, there has to be a gray area of acknowledging the things that we have progressed and why certain things don't affect me today. You know what I'm saying? This is back to the 7 boyfriends thing again. You remember? Yeah, you remember. But yeah, something I feel like it's also important to know is like when it does come to, at least in my demographic, when it comes to black people, and this is not all of us, this is just like a general, a generalized speaking from things I've experienced and people close around me that I know have experienced, there's very similar things. I don't think that I should be held responsible for the things that happened to my parents or be the punching bag after that. You know what I'm saying? You see what I'm kind of getting at? And using some shitty excuse, in my opinion, is well, I was a young parent and I just, you weren't too young to fuck. So I don't know. I think when it comes to growing a kid and getting to the point where so many families are broken up or don't want to be around each other, it comes from the way that the kids were raised, because these young parents just didn't know how to handle their fucking emotions. I'm not even in my 30s yet, and I have a sense of understanding to what it takes to, one, raise a kid, not just financially, but like mentally, but also the stress and baggage that comes with that. I have 0 kids, and I'm a homosexual. So why the fuck is that a skill set that I have? You know what I'm saying? That doesn't make sense to me, personally. I don't understand what it is about a person and another person deciding to procreate, whether that's by choice or not, whatever the situation is at hand. Once that does happen, and this is now the next move, the amount of like up and down of inconsistency in a child's life that gets them to the point of not wanting to be around. I'm sorry, getting to your 30s and hearing, well, I was a young parent, does 0 for me. I'm a young me, and I've gotten further in my life than my mom did in her young age. That's not a flex. I'm just saying. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, and that's just not lack of trying, but like, I'll never forget me getting my first job and having my first paycheck, and then like being able to like buy myself a phone and everything. And my mom giving me shit because I kind of gave her, a little bit of backlash. She was like, she's going to start paying rent. And I was like, girl, at 18, getting paid $7 an hour, don't even be all the extra way fucking for real. Please. Like, if you want me out, then I'll skedaddle today. But like asking me for full rent when like I didn't even ask to be in this house was crazy. Not to mention, the only reason I'm here is because you brought me here. You know what I'm saying? But like, even furthermore, getting to the point of like, when I kind of like gave her backlash, like, well, I don't feel like that's fair. Now she wants to throw in her face, well, I don't need your funky $40 anyways, because I make 5 times that much in one night. I make your hope. Well, then if that's the case, big baller, go do that. But then now today, it's like I bring up those stories, or I bring up those memories, and then she's like, well, I was just trying to teach you financial gain and how to be more. You were trying to beg your finest pardon? No, that's not what I'm looking for. So yeah, no, I don't know. If you're going to decide to have kids, whether again, that's on accident, whatever the case may be, If you don't think you can do it, don't. But don't also put it on the kid's mental standing for the rest of their life, long term, because you feel like that's just the easiest way to go about it. Highly disagree with that. And there are so many kids who like my younger cousin right now is basically going through more or less what I was going through with my mom, with his mom. And it's because of a nigga. Like it's always some stupid shit, and it's like this reoccurring cycle. The fact that Tyler Perry has like 16 movies about this general concept right here, right now, that exactly what I'm explaining, that's not good. Okay, that's not what we're looking for here. And it shouldn't be something that can be so generalized that so many people can be like, oh, you too, huh? Crazy. Yeah, because I remember back the what? I don't want to share war stories. That sounds asinine. I don't, that's not funny to me. Like, that's not an enjoyable thing to be able to do, to have to do, or to want to do in any way. And so, like, I feel like there has to be a centralized understanding on what point we're going to decide, okay, well, maybe somebody has to change somewhere. Who that may be, Buki, I have no clue, but like somewhere, again, I ain't got no fucking kids. But like I'm also a product of that. And so I don't know, at the expense of like my way of thinking now is like this stubborn adult who's like very sour when it comes to the relationship with my mother. It's truly unfortunate that the only like response from all the other positive mothers or positive people who keep their moms in their lives for just the bare minimum of being a mother, it's always the same, like, well, she birthed you, don't forget she's how you got here, and dabba dabba. No, 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 no. We all know how babies are born, okay, as a collective. So like, let's not do that. And my mom she was pregnant at 17 and had me at 18. So to say that she had me and brought me not by choice, she didn't pick through a catalog and was like, I want that one. No. And even today, the one she wants is not me. And so like, just because you have a kid doesn't mean that you always know right. But also learning and being able to take accountability for not knowing at that young age to kind of try to get you somewhere, or just learning simple skills, you know what I'm saying, of not being so angry towards these kids and putting it on them that they exist now. You know what I'm saying? Like take lashing out on your children for the sake of them just being children. I don't understand that. I've never really understood that. But hey, you were a young parent and you didn't know how to, you didn't have therapy back then, I guess. So I don't fucking know. Not to mention when it is going to come back to the thing, like let's say it does get to a certain point where there's so much time in between how you were as that young parent and then now your kid being older and then now you being older and being more knowledgeable on being a parent. Sure. Now when we decide to talk about it and it's like an actual conversation, I feel like we should all have. It like drives me fucking insane. Me or my sister will try to bring up a memory to my mother, any memory, whatever the memory is. And my mom will be like, oh, yeah, that was such a fun time, blah, blah, blah. And then me and my sister look back at each other like, which time are you describing? Because that was not a fun time. I wasn't telling that story because it being a quirky, fun, girly time. You know what I'm saying? No, it was very struggling. That's a traumatic event. So, like, what do you mean by that? You know what I'm saying? Like, that I just don't understand at all. And so it does get to a very frustrating part where even sometimes, like, I'll tell a story and then my mom will almost get upset with me and my sister, just being like, when did that happen? Or I would never have done that. And I'm like, hey, listen, girlfriend, if she has the same story I have and we told it at different times and now you're telling it back to us saying that's what we said, you might have to fix something there, Buki, because that's something you have to work on. Like my youngest brother, he's about to be 16, basically going through the exact same thing now, where like it's just an ongoing cycle of the same. I like, when are the excuses going to stop? You know what I'm saying? And so if you don't have the ability to acknowledge something, but also like like if I'm remembering something that happened and then you can't acknowledge that, there's a difference there. You know what I'm saying? Because the memory's still the same no matter what. Like those events still did occur, but like for you to straight up, not me knocking Kitty over in the back, girl, come join us. Oh my goodness, man, I'm so sorry, Kitty. For the audience who are just listening, for my viewers, my kitty, the horse, she fell off the bed, almost like a monkey. I almost took her out, but she's back with us, guys, and we're rekindling things now. I promise. I'm not an abusive parent. Gosh, see, no, now I look like the people I talk about. This is crazy, but yeah, no. Acknowledging a core memory or just a traumatic memory should be very important, even if it's something that's not talked about for such a long time. If you're, and I see this so much in black families, it makes me very sad. If your daughter now in her 30s decides to come to you and be like, yeah, uncle blah 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 touched me, and then you go, what the fuck, bitch? Now why would you go say some shit like that? Would have never happened. You would have said something. We're not even having the same conversation. We're not even talking about the same thing here, because obviously back then I didn't want to talk about it, so then bringing it up now should be a you know what I'm saying? Like, always I feel like when it comes to being in the trauma and the person who's enduring the trauma by said trauma maker, the fact that there's always so many questions off rip, none of the accountable parts though, but just like almost victim blaming, and then like, why wouldn't you have said, almost like gaslighting, all those crazy things. You're already doing it wrong. Go read your lines. We're gonna come back, cut for today, and we'll rekindle tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? We'll restart, because obviously we don't know the character roles we're supposed to be playing. Something's lost in the plot, and I don't like that. And like, even me, like, I don't have an ability. It gets to the point where I don't even want to anymore. But sometimes my mom will kind of try to bring up a memory. Damn, already black. Come on now. But I'll bring up a memory, or she will, and then I'll just be listening, because I'm like, girl, whatever you got to tell yourself. But then it'll get to a point where like now the whole story's been like reversed. And so I'm like, hey, whoa, now, Holiday, hold, you can't give to that shit like that wet. You can't give him to that shit wet. No, you can't do that. What would make you say it like that? And then I'll have to correct her, like, that's not what happened. And she's like, that is what happened. And I'm like, no, verbatim, that's not at all what happened. If that's the part of the story you remembered, Buki, let me inform you. It's about to be a Tarantino film. And I got to fill in gaps with the middle before the beginning and shit. And yeah, now we're here, I guess. But yeah, no, I don't know. I don't have the attention span these days to really like care enough to uh re-educate her on a memory of a traumatic memory that I had to go through. So, I don't feel like it has to be something that has to, on my end at least, something that I have to consistently do, but it is something that I do try to acknowledge when I can, so, but I don't talk to the woman one way or another, so it's not like it matters today. But something that I do see, and when it comes to more on a progressive light, younger parents, people in my age group and around my demographic, are starting to change. There is starting to be this like really cool optimal way of like, I remember what it was like to be in such shitty traumatic situations that I never want my kin and kin after that to ever experience that. And it is starting to become a thing now, you know what I'm saying? And so it does make me very happy, and I do definitely have to acknowledge the very positive starts that I do see, whether that's giving your black children culture, or your person of sharing your culture, education, having that clear communication, and all these things. If you want to break the norms that you see already in your own family, break them. You have, I promise you, if you, free will does exist. If you want to do 3 backflips right now, you can do them. Now, whether you land on your feet, that's not what we're talking about, but you can go do them nonetheless, Buki. Like, that's all I'm saying. So like, definitely do know that option always stands. If you want to change something, change it. Be the change you want to be. Like, we talk about this. Come on now. It's starting to replay itself. So like, some of the older people who also don't realize that you can still change, because 9 times out of 10 your ways of thinking have been that for the 50, 60 plus years. But seeing why people do the way they do, you got to be more accountable. You know what I'm saying? You got to be able to like lead with more eyesight of receptiveness, of seeing like, damn, they probably don't talk to us because we did something, not just because they're too, you know what I'm saying? Like, there has to be context to that. Ask more questions. Duh. That's basic science. And so like, I feel like it's definitely easier to want to be the change you want to be than it is to try to find out where you need to change, in my personal opinion. Because again, if you're able to just look back and see what your family is even like in the first place, like, it'll begin to piss you off. Or if you think of group holidays or any group events you have to be around your family, and your immediate response as an adult is to smack your lips, roll your eyes, or anything that's not joyful, I can't wait to see them. Right. There it is. Right. That problem A, B, and F. Like, come on now, guys. Like, so it is very important to know, being able to just change. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like that's not hard. I don't talk to a lot of my family because a lot of my family doesn't have the same views as me. And the circle that I surround myself with today all have the same views as me. And so these days, I live very peacefully, calm. I am living the parts of my life that I can finally say I'm living, not surviving, and it's really great. And I'm growing more. And now I'm moving states. Now I'm getting the fuck out of Arizona, fucking finally. Um, when that is, very soon. And if you want to help, by all means, I have a GoFundMe for that. So we'll cross that bridge when we get there, of course. I don't ever expect anything from you guys. I don't ever expect you guys to give me anything. I don't necessarily care for handouts and such, but we're here now, and so I'm a transparent person, and I told you guys that at the first episode of last season. I will always be upfront and completely honest with more than I need to be, always, than opposed to not. Because I'll be damned. This shit's recorded and it's gonna be on the internet, Beyonce's internet. Oh Lord, yeah, girl. Back on the tasks at hand, though. You know what I'm saying? So just change. Like, it's not hard. I'm not saying just because I can do it, you can do it. But that is kind of what I'm saying. If I can do it, you can do it. And you could probably do it better. Now what, bestie? Now I'm encouraging you to go do it. Go be the change. If you notice these generational things that you're just like, well, it's just my family, girl. It just needs to not be. So go just do something different, because that just sounds silly. Like, what the fuck? I'm not. No. And another thing that I get. Now that we're on the topic, let me breathe real quick. When it does come to generational norms, especially for the people of color and niggas specifically, I have to be specific here. And I talked about a little bit of this in episodes. The fact that our trauma is so joked about amongst us. I talked about it last episode where it was like that TikTok sound of that little black girl, and she's playing with dolls, but she's imitating what it would be like if her mom was talking to her daughter or something. And she's like, sit your stupid funky ass down before I punch you. And I'm just like, damn, one, triggered, because that's my mom talk. Two, the little girl's probably like 8, 9 at most. Why is the plot to that lost? What does she see that's like, you know what I'm saying? And so, like, the fact that it's just like this jokey joke, like, yeah, I remember when my mom used to tell me to kneel in grits. Okay, what the fuck? So you and Harriet Tubman have a very similar background. I'm getting it. I'm listening. What the fuck? Where were you in the war? Like, why the fuck are those memories? And then why are we all joking about these memories as jokes? Okay, like the whole using humor to deal with traumatic events. Yeah, sometimes it's like but like those things, like, that's abuse. You were underage, and that grown man said he put his fist into your sternum. Did we all forget how the Jackson 5 became the Jackson 5? That motherfucker was putting hands on them, rumbling in the right, left, right, kicks, punch, son. The whole, like, you guys know the words. Like, come on now. Like, those kids were getting the brakes beat off them. I feel like whatever they do in Chick-fil-A is the same teachings that got the Jackson 5 to be the Jackson 5, because them motherfuckers say, nope, yes, pleasure, my pleasure, and all that shit. They too fucking nice. But it's also hate chicken. So, like, not to say that I'm there, obviously, because couldn't catch me over there getting number 6 with a frozen lemonade or whatever. But yeah, back on the topic at hand, I guess, guys. I don't think it's funny. I think it should be something that's talked about, worked through, and then that should be the end of that. But getting to a point where we think it's okay to remember such traumatic beatings and these teachings or forms of discipline that just clearly didn't work and didn't get you to where you needed to be. It just separated, more and more black people, unfortunately. And so I feel like if the damage is done, the damage is done. But, like, you can also be the change you want to be. And so finding ways to get out of that needs to be the immediate forefront of how you move forward, because boy, I tell you, any parent deciding that their fist is the only way to have communication with their child, and then 6 children out of 10 all having the same story, what is going on? What books are these children, like, the parents reading? And then, of course, like, generationally before, it's like it was just the easiest way for them to kind of deal with stuff was like, quit asking me questions, I'd rather kick you. I don't understand that. I just, that grinds my gears. It's really unfortunate to me, because, like, physical discipline does not equal lessons. We don't live, not in this country. It doesn't. They put you in jail first. They don't beat you with, depends on what color you are, but it's a conversation for another day, I guess. But yeah, no, definitely, like, I don't know. There has to be some type of, like, restructured to the way discipline works and to the way that you're going to communicate with people, or the way we're going to have humor about trauma. Like, it just, I don't know. There can't be like some dark humor about other things, and then like we can all joke about the way we all got the brakes beat off of toe up from the flow up. I just don't find that funny anymore. I think it's lazy writing, in my opinion. I also think when it does come to teachings on both sides, be receptive. Parents aren't always fucking right, or the generation before us. So if I just happen to grow up, I have to bring up this story because it's kind of relevant on the topic, but like, I work in entertainment. This is what I do for a living. This. I teach dance license. Ooh, girl, slow down there, Buckaroo. I'm also a dance coach and then a gym coach too, like gymnast. Outside of that, a couple gigs here and there, but like when it comes to my line of work, entertainment, I work on the fucking internet. Everyone knows Boo Boo. That is my name. That is what everyone addresses me by, whether it's a work email, a class, anywhere. It is Boo Boo. Look at me right now. I have striped eyebrows, rainbow hair with an alien in the back of my skull, cheetah print fucking shorts on, and I got fuzzy rainbow. Come on now. Boo Boo, right? Thank you. We're all here together. My aunt, I've been wanting to legally make it Boo Boo for quite some time. And when I turned 30, because I had an opiate addiction, wasn't supposed to make it to 30, let alone 25. I'm thinking more about my future. So as a like, you did it, you made it. When I turn 30, I want to get a grill, want to be fully moved into Colorado by then, if not like around that area. And then I want to legally change it to Boo Boo. Those are the big three things when I turn 30. That's it. My big three. My aunt, everyone on my dad's side, because my dad's the one who gave me my name. My aunt feels so passionate about. I would highly recommend you don't do that, and I think it would be very very not healthy for you, and it's gonna affect you in the long run. Girl, listen, and don't get me wrong, me and my auntie, we're locked in tight. That's my best to go best to you, but like there's definitely like a disconnect to where I am now and like how she sees me. And I think that just genuinely comes from her and the generation after her, and then like even after that, all have these like concept of like 9 to 5s, staying within the family, and then just like building my little career, and then like that's it. You know what I'm saying? They don't really do too much. I'm not even a black sheep. I'm the most rainbow sheep of the fucking family. I have tattoos, crazy tattoos. Probably the only one who's ever done. I don't want to say the only one, but out of like the core family, I've had the most experience in the world at such a young age. I would say for sure, done a lot of crazy things. Not the most like out of everybody, but like just the way I live, very different from everybody else. I'm also the only openly gay person in my family that I know of with my last name. No one else. Can't think of another one. So when it comes to the way they see me, they all see me by my dead name. That's not me. I haven't been that child and girl. I don't know how long, shaking ass on the internet by day and being funny on by night. Like we're just not talking about the same things. So when I do bring up, oh, I'm gonna change my name, she just brings up this like strong opinions about like, oh, I don't think you should do that, and like blah blah blah. And so then the other day, she brings up something about my education that she thinks I should go continue to do, and just like go get your education. I think it's so important to do it, and da da da. Girl, YouTube University is free. I'm gonna learn anything on TikTok these days. Where I'm going in my life and the things that I want to do with my life have zero to do with, she used to get mad at me that I had purple hair. I was still getting good grades and going to school. I wasn't doing drugs. Like it could have been so much worse. You know what I'm saying? And so I feel like when it does come to being receptive to change, I am receptive to the change around her. Like she's a Christian woman. When I'm around her, I respect that. I don't talk the same exact way out of the side of my neck, and I'm the way she sees me. But I don't get that same respect back. I'm still a little kid to her, which is okay. That because she is my aunt, who basically raised me. But on the other side, it's like, bro, you gotta realize, like, I'm a whole grown woman. No, I'm just playing. Let me quit. I am a growing boy, though. Like, like I'm an adult, tax-paying citizen. Promise. So, like, there has to be some sense of understanding of change and how to be receptive to change as things change and when things change. You know what I'm saying? And so be the change you want to be, but also be growing and be changing with the change as things change. Dang. Ding-a-ling-a-ling, change. But all right, I think it's about that time we get into our segment this week. All right, bitches. So on this week we have a y'all are scary, and I'm starting to notice about you, but we're starting to get more receptiveness, receptiveness. I'm making my head hurt, but we're gonna get right into our segment of is that lazy writing? You guys share me stories, whether it's on TikTok, Instagram, or however the fuck you found me. Right, however you found me. But you give me the story, and then I basically let you know if it's lazy writing or not. This one also wanted to remain anonymous, but this was also a kooky, quirky, crazy episode too. This little story here, so I'm gonna try to sum it up as much as I can from the reading because y'all are not the greatest writers, but you try to give me the story, and that has to count for something. So basically, girly is Polly. Not pocket. She is polyamorous. She's dating two people. One of the people decides I'm not really feeling it no more. I'm gonna kind of go do my own thing, but doesn't share that with the rest of the class. So because the other one's not really like they all live separately. Also, I should preface. The other two, not the main ones, but just the girl and the other one, they are hanging out more obviously because the other one's just doing their own thing. But like they still text, just they don't physically see him. Now here's the crazy thing. They were all together for about 3 years, I guess, or 3 or 4 years. The one who was doing their own thing, they're throwing like a big birthday party or whatever, right? It's also been like 6 months of like them not necessarily seeing each other, but like being intimate and like basically dating and not just like hanging out like regularly, outside of social gatherings. Tell me why the third one throws a birthday party and then decides, hey, hi, thank you for showing up to my birthday. This is me and my partner, blah, 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 blah. A whole new extra castmate. No lines, no nothing. Just it entered, new fighter. You know what I'm saying? So now Girly Pop blocks them on everything. These two are now full-fledged dating. Well, the guy proposes to the girl, right? And then they're like, okay, that's actually kind of cool. So they all decide to get married. They post their pictures everywhere. So obviously it gets to the third one. Well, now the third one decides to start like negatively getting back at like them, like talking about their name, whatever, as petty bitches do. Now here's the fun part. They were all kind of like, because they were dating for like years. They kind of were like financially like entangled in some areas or whatever, and so they just decided to cut off that third person, and now that third person kind of owes money in certain things because they like unco-signed stuff and all types of certain things. So now that person's like in debt and doesn't know what to do, and so they're like, do you think it was lazy writing that like I did what I did? Two things for certain and one thing's for sure, Buki. No, I don't think that's lazy writing. And it's not even about getting your get back. The fact that this third person didn't even have the reins to, outside of all the communication and the shady shit that they already did, you guys aren't together anymore. So any type of anything, and you're about to marry this other person sharing your last name, you guys are about to grow everything together. No, don't involve another third party that you guys didn't create. Or no, I think that is the greatest writing I've heard all fucking day. You should become a writer, a poet even. That's like a good Beyonce song, but don't get ahead of yourself now, okay? But yeah, no, that was fuck that. I think that was. I'm glad that we got a positive that's not like lazy writing. But yeah, no, don't forget if you guys have more of these great cookie stories for me that I can inform you whether it's good writing or not. If you ever so feel like my opinion is there, follow me at Hey Boo Podcast. I'll list that everywhere in the bio as usual. But yeah, follow me at the Hey Boo Podcast on TikTok, on Instagram. Maybe we'll get a Reddit. I keep saying that, but that's just like one more area I gotta do. Also, the GoFundMe that I have that I mentioned earlier isn't towards just me moving. I need a laptop. Funny enough, I am an iPad girly, as you guys see in every episode. Between my phone, a friend, and this here iPad, it's how I run the entire business. So if you do ever feel so entitled to share your funds with me, in that GoFundMe, it goes towards also a PC so I can become more organized. Because once I move, my editor is staying in Arizona, and so we have to find a more cohesive way to kind of get the information to each other. And I want to continue this. Like, just because I'm moving doesn't mean I don't want to do great things here. So I think it's going to be a great time and an even greater time than that, personally. But fucking A, man. What a time. What a time and a time after that, But I feel like we're gonna kind of wrap things up here a little bit. Get me the fuck up out of here. Music of the week. I don't know. I feel like I ain't really been like listening to anything specific. I feel like I just been playing music, getting through the masses. This move has me stressed. Like I'm cool, but like it's just a big move. Something I've actually never done before when it comes to state. But We'll cross that bridge when we get there, Buki. But yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Music of the week, shuffle. Quite literally. I'm not gonna say pass, but we're just gonna say shuffle. Nothing specific. If I catch a vibe, I catch a vibe. That's kind of where I'm at right now. Um, mental health check. Oh, yeah. Let's not forget. You create the family that you want, not the family you came from. The people you surround yourself with, that you call them family, and they can uphold that. That's your family right there. I'm leaving my state, but my family is still like I still got that. You know what I'm saying? Coast to coast, like Doechii said in that one song. But yeah, no, I am a strong believer in that bonds are thicker than blood for sure, and you'll know family when it's there. That's not something that's going to be forced. That's not, all the generational things and toxicity you've gone through your entire life, you'll never go through with the people that you grow as you get to those healthier relationships. You'll just start to see it. It'll just start to click, Pookie, and I think that's great for you, honestly. Thank you for being so curious. I feel like if you've made it this far, like, do you realize we're almost close to like a year? Yeah, getting to the yearish area. And so, like, once we're there, I don't know what the fuck big bang thing I'm gonna do, but it's such a fun time that you're growing with me, and that you've even had the open mind to be around me the way you have. And so I feel like that's very important to note here for sure. And yeah, no, you guys are fucking awesome. I think it's a grand time to be hanging out with you guys as much as I do. Bing bang bada boom, and it's gonna be a great time. Next episode though. It's up when it's up, and it's up from there. Girl, the episode is called Accountability. It's something we talk about relatively often. I feel like I should give a whole episode to it. We're probably going to be in that bitch for like an hour and a half, so I'll try to be very swift with my words with that one. But accountability. Girl, say it with me. Accountability. But oh my God, yes, no, what a fun, quirky episode. This was cool. I feel like this was I let out a lot of steam. Got to get real personal with your girl. And in the nicks and the crannies. Yeah, you guys gonna know where to find me on all socials. You know what I'm saying? I will find you guys back here at the end of the week on Friday. Such a fun gandering time. I'm so glad to be back in the season. I feel like I'm gonna be saying that for the first like 10 episodes, because we have 25 of those bitches this season. Talk about it. Right. Talk about it. Who knows? Maybe we'll get to a point where I'll do even more episodes than that. Let's not get ahead of myself, Holiday. But no, at the Hey Boo podcast, we do love to say we love you, and we love you some more. Mwah, we love you. I am your host, Boo Boo, and this was the Hey Boo podcast. What the fuck? Girl, go wash your ass.
Get ready, everyone. You're listening to the Hey Boo podcast.
I like that with the